Hello students, in our previous video we learned how the spring came eventually to the giant's garden, but why it wasn't why it was still winter in the farthest corner of the garden, we will know today. In our previous video we got to know that that corner of garden, why it was having still winter season, because there was a small kid, there was a small child who was so small that he could not climb on the tree, and that's why there were no birds, there were no flowers on that tree, and there was no spring for that tree. Now we will go further and read. The boy was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree, and he was wandering all round it, crying bitterly. The poor tree was still quite covered with frost and snow, and the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. "Climb up, little boy," said the tree, and it bent its branches down as low as it could, but the boy was too teeny. And it says the boy was so small that he was not capable to climb on the tree, and to make it easy for that boy, tree itself lowered its branches as much as down as it could do, so that the boy could climb on its branch and the spring could come to that part of the garden as well. And the tree told to the boy, that "Climb up, little boy," and by saying this, the tree lowered its branches. But the boy was too teeny to climb a tree. वह लड़का बहुत ही छोटा था कि वह किसी भी पेड़ पे नहीं चढ़ सकता था. And the giant's heart melted as he looked out. "How selfish I have been," he said. Now I know why the spring would not come here. I will put the poor little boy on the top of the tree, and then I will knock down the wall, and my garden shall be the children's playground forever and ever." He was really very sorry for what he had done. And after seeing this scenario, the giant felt so sorry in his heart. He told himself that how selfish I was, that I barred children to enter my garden. And he also said to himself that now I will put the little boy on the top of the tree, and I am also going to knock down the wall which I have raised for children and all. And he was made his mind that now, after knocking down that wall, this garden would be free for children. They will come here, they will play here forever. So he crept downstairs and opened the front door quite softly, and went out into the garden. But when the children saw him, they were so frightened that they all ran away, and the garden became winter again. And after thinking this, the giant slowly came out of his house and entered into his garden. But the kids were so frightened of him, they were feared of him, and that's why they ran away. जैसे ही बच्चों ने देखा, वो पहले से ही बहुत डरे हुए थे उस जाइंट से, दैत्य से, कि जैसे ही उन्होंने देखा बच्चों ने कि ये बाहर आया, वे दौड़ के सब भाग गए. And as soon as children ran away, the garden was empty of children. The spring again gone, and the winter came. फिर से अचानक जैसे ही बच्चे गए, बच्चों से खाली हुआ गार्डन, अचानक से फिर से स्प्रिंग, वसंत ऋतु चली गई और वहां पे फिर से शरद ऋतु आ गया. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were so full of tears that he did not see the giant coming. And the giant stole up behind him and took him gently in his hand and put him up into the tree. And the tree broke at once into blossom, and the birds came and sang on it. And the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung them round the giant's neck and kissed him. And the other children, when they saw that the giant was not wicked any longer, came running back, and with them came the spring. But what happened actually? All the children ran away, but that only kid who was too teeny and who was standing at the farthest corner of the garden, he didn't see the giants because his eyes was full of tears, and that's why he could see him. And the giant slowly come to him and picked him up in his arm and put him on the top of the tree. जायंट धीरे से, वो दैत्य धीरे धीरे उस बच्चे के पास आया और उसने उसको उठा के पेड़ की सबसे ऊंची टहनी पे, सबसे ऊंची शाखा पे रख दिया. And the tree broke at once into blossom. और वो पेड़ जो अब तक जहां पे शरद ऋतु थी, at once it broke into blossoms. अचानक से उस पे एकदम से फूल खिल गए चारों तरफ. And the birds came and sang on it. चारों तरफ से चिड़िया उस पे आके चहचहाने लगे, गाने लगे. And the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung them round the giant's neck and kissed him. And the little boy, the little kid who was alone in the garden, who stretched his arms and flung around the neck of the giants. उसने उस दैत्य को गले लगा लिया, उसको चूमने लगा. And the other children, when they saw that the giant was not wicked any longer, came running back, and with them came the spring. And when other children saw this, they got to know that the giant is not, mad at us any longer. He is not angry at us any longer. And that's why they were not frightened anymore. And they came running into the garden. And so was the spring. जैसे ही बच्चे सारे गार्डन में आए, बागीचे में आए, स्प्रिंग भी वापस आ गया. It is your garden now, little children, said the giant. And he took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found the giant playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. And then when finally all the children were in his garden, spring was in his garden, he Now this garden is all yours, little boys. This garden is for you forever. And by saying this, he got up and took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And after that, after a couple of hours, at 12 o'clock, when villagers were going to market, they saw this incident, this scenario, and they saw that the giant was playing with children, and it was a most beautiful sight. It was a most beautiful garden, because there were so many children, because there was spring, because now the giant was not selfish anymore. He was a kind-hearted giant now. That's why this was a most beautiful garden they have ever seen. Here the story ends. This story was written by Oscar Wilde. He was an Irish poet. Rest you know very well. Now, after finishing this chapter, we will do some question answer. You try to solve it on your own, and meanwhile I will look after it, and after time being I will let you know about the question answer. Thank you very much. Next video we will see the next chapter.